Let me know if everyone able to see my screen.
Your screen is visible, Anna.
Okay, fine. So can you everyone be please mute yourself so that I'll start my session. So now, first of all, I just want to know one more thing. So how many of you aware of data science and then what machine learning is about and what deep learning is all about? So probably I'll start from a very basic point of what is a data science, and then I'll take you forward on what we do with the help of data science. So if you see my background picture, it's an kind of an sky and an ocean kind of a picture. The reason for this background is that even data science is a kind of an ocean where if you deep dive into it, you'll get more things. And so that's the reason why I have chosen this background for this. So let me jump into what is a data science. So many of you might be aware of an word called artificial intelligence instead of a human brain. So there is something a mission or a bot which does the things instead of human. That is an artificial intelligence. So all this machine learning, deep learning, or an data science or big data, everything comes into an area of an artificial intelligence. So far we haven't evolved in an artificial intelligence much, though we are hearing this word from past 60 years, but there is not much evolutions has happened. But whereas with respect to data science, that has started recently in the from 2010 or 12 onwards. So it has come into the market, and then people are started working on it, and these things happen. Probably artificial intelligence might take another some 20 years where everyone might be knowing about artificial intelligence as the people knows about machine learning nowadays. So uh, so what is a data science? In the sense, data science is just an if you have a data, you need to know about what the insights from the data you get. So instead of someone going through the data manually and reading it and then telling you what the data is about, there should be some algorithm which does all the things which can be done by human and tell you what it is about. So coming to the machine learning part. So the name itself says that machine learning means, so you make a machine to learn based on your data. In the sense, let's say if you have some transaction data, suppose let's say if you are buying something in Amazon or Flipkart or somewhere else, you'll or else you have some your phone pay or Google Pay app. So monthly you'll be doing some expenditures, and then you'll be paying to someone and you'll be receiving the money, right? So you can build an algorithm which monitors these things and which can tell you that next month how much you can spend on based on your earlier month's expenditures. So this is a kind of an predicting something which happens in the future by learning from the past. And then the second part is that deep learning, which is a subset of a machine learning. But so both are same. Only the difference is that the way you build is that major difference. In the sense, in a machine learning, there is something called as in feature engineering. I'll take you later into that of it. So that can be avoided in a deep learning, and they can just use it as a plug and play. But you need to know about the architectures of it. And then so overall the artificial intelligence, when you combine these things and you add some more computer science that has an intelligence to the machine which can react like a human, then that is called as an artificial intelligence. So to build an artificial intelligence, you need a machine learning or a data science or a deep learning technologies with the help of some big data. So these things all combined together will form an artificial intelligence. So now you might be wondering why I should learn this. What is the use of learning this and all? So if you see the left side graph of in my presentation, that is called as an Gartner graph. In the sense, see, there will be someone like a company CEOs, and then all big shots will be there, right? So how come those people will know that the future some technology is going to come and we need to catch it up and then we need to build? So let's say cloud computing is a word. Till 2007 and 8, no one knows about cloud computing. But there the era started. But only the top level CEOs comes to know about this is because of this company called Gartner. The Gartner is a consulting company where it researches on all the technologies available and what all the people working on it, and it will give us some graph. So that graph is always the same. So it starts increasing a very peak. Once it reaches the peak, and it start reducing, and then after that it will be into some constant level. So it is about all about hype. Let's say something comes whenever into the market, it will create a lot of buzz and then it will be very hype, and then after some time it will get reduced, and then it will be a kind of a normal thing. So if you see this, there are some things called as an augmented intelligence, transfer learning, and explainable AI, edge AI. All these things like or else edge analytics, these are the major things. Or else here you can see adaptive machine learning. So now I have taken this graph as of August 2019. So normally 2020 is not available, that you need to pay to get that, or else you'll get after some 4 or 5 months you can get that for a free of cost. So so let's say if you see this 5G, 5G is in a peak, very peak stage now. The meaning of this is that let's say if you start learning 5G now, or else not started learning now, if you are have already started learning 5G, now you will be in a very peak demand in a current situation, so that people will recruit you very fast because you are much more needed in the market. So this tell sorry so this tells you that you need to learn some things which are in this stage, so that you can complete that courses when it comes to the peak, and you'll get jobs very easily, and you can sustain later on. So this is all about the Gartner graph. So this says that all this transfer learning or an explainable AI, edge AI, all these are an advancements of machine learning. Machine learning has passed from this graph. It has moved away from here, or else deep learning also has moved away from here by 2017 or 18. So now you need to focus on this. But to need to focus on this, you need to know the what is machine learning and what is deep learning to learn these things. So once if you complete your things, you search in a Google for a Gartner graph and pick up the technologies whichever are going to peak now, and then you start reading it. Definitely, you will be in a very good position to get the job. So this is all about that. And then Harvard University, they have mentioned it as an sexiest job of the 21st century. So means this is that means for entire 21st century, this will be going to be a very sexiest job, and you'll get a high packages, or else you'll be more satisfied on what you're working, and then you'll be kind of an predictor, or else you'll be kind of an gem in out of your all office. So let's say if you know machine learning, people will come to you and people will ask about how to learn it, all these things. So why this is more important is that because of the data growth. Last 5 years, data has grown to 30 times than let's say 2015. How much ever data is available now, it has become 30 times. So let's say some 1,000 trillion bytes of data was there in 2015. Now it has become 30,000 trillion bytes, and then by 2025 it becomes 1500 sorry 5 lakh trillion bytes of data. So it again multiplies by 50% from now. So that's the reason why people are more concentrating on data. So right, all the data
Shantana? Shantana?
hello.
No, your screen is not visible enough. Please resume your screen.
uh,
Please resume your screen.
okay, fine. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yeah, now visible.
Yeah. So this is about, and then coming to the job market, it is about 1.3 millions. And then some report says that currently people with AI skill sets in the sense or comes all the machine learning or deep learning, all these skill sets comes under AI. 31% of people are inability to meet their demand. So means there are having 100 jobs openings, but they are recruiting only 69 because other peoples are not having the knowledge what they require. So if you learn these things, definitely you will get a job. So normally what happens in normal engineering students, what happens to them is that they learn either Java or Python or some coding languages they learn, and the competition will be very high. You'll be having some 100 openings, and some 5,000 people will be coming for 100 openings, and you might not get a chance for every time. So, but whereas in machine learning, there are 100 jobs opening, only 50 people are some 70 people are going, but the problem is that they are not able to recruit them because they are not completely aware of the subject. So if you learn things, definitely jobs you will get it. And then you know that, right? Normal average salary for a data scientist, if you become a data scientist, your normal average salary will be, let's say, it might be after 1 or 2 years of your career, it will be around some 9 lakh rupees. But starting might be the same as others, but after 2 years, definitely your friends who learns either Java or C++ or something, or else this front end JavaScript or these things, they might move from 3 lakhs to maximum of 5 lakhs after 2 years, but definitely you will be in a 9 lakhs or 10 lakhs package. So and these are the other opportunities in India currently. There is some survey has happened, and they have mentioned that there are about 1.5 new openings as a data scientist for this year. So and then you can see many companies like the company called EY, Ernst Young. They are they have planned to recruit around 14,000 techies in 1 year of time. So think about one single company is trying to recruit 14,000 with skill sets of analytics, ML, and AI. This is of September 2019. So by this now by this September, probably they might not be recruited now because of this corona. Normally, there are much more chances of you getting a job outside. So now, so far, we have seen what is a data science, and then and also what opportunities you get after reading the data science or something else, right? Now, I'm going to take you through first about what is the data and what types of data sources we have. So, as you know, data might be this numerical data where from a sensors or something else, sensors might be emitting a data through cloud, and then you might be taking all those recordings. This is a numerical data, or else IoT or something you can call it. Or else if you are doing some transactions through mobile, or else any transactional data comes under this numerical data. And the other is in text data in the sense you'll get this data from Facebook, or else Twitter, or else any social media, or else even in Amazon or Flipkart, you'll see that people will be writing about reviews or these things, right? So these comes around for a text data part. And then image data is all about data where you have an images, and then you need to learn about what the images, and then how it helps to you in your you can also know about this Facebook, right? Let's say if you have a Facebook, if you tag if you just upload your photo, it will directly show the person who in the images, or else it will suggest you to tag to this person. How it comes to know is that with the help of this processing of image data with them. So audio data in the sense, let's say any voice recorded data or anything else, these data will be done with some use cases. Now what I do is that for each data data type, I'll tell you what are the available use cases and how it can be useful. So most of the things people might not tell you how it will be applied outside the world. So this session is all about, instead of teaching you what is data science, uh, probably I'll tell you what if you learn data science, what you can do so that you learn the thing. So instead of reading something and then without knowing what is the end goal, I think there is no point of reading it. So that's the reason why I thought I'll focus more on what is your end goal will be once if you learn data science. So now I'll come to this called as a numerical data. Most of the people who works on the numerical data, they call it as a machine learning, and it has an different applications. Let's say predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is nothing but if you have a pen and paper, you can note it down, or else you can remember it. It's not a big problem. But you just instead of you can remember it as much as you possible. But if you write it down, then if you want to revise it, it will be helpful for you. So it just tells about what the meaning of that is. I won't explain what is the definition of it, all of these things. So predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is nothing but you'll try to predict what happens in future. Let's say, how can I put this? You might be aware of something called this windmills, right? In many areas, or else in even in Tirupati or somewhere else on the top of the hill, there might be some windmills. So those windmills are very costly, and then each mission costs around some 2.5 crores. And then there are many, let's say if it get repaired and you need to, let's say the engineers are not available every place. So let's say engineer might be in Hyderabad or somewhere else. If it got repaired, then you need to, yeah.
Anna, once again, please reading your screen, Anna.
Okay, fine. Why this is
Some
happening continuously?
some members are unwantedly sharing that screen, that very screens.
Unwantedly?
Share the some members are screens, Anna. They are sharing that own that person own screens.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Okay. Is it visible now?
Anna visible, Anna.
So, okay, fine. So this predictive analytics, in the sense, it talks about, let's say I was talking about the sensors, right? So in that fan, for every motor or somewhere else, you'll fix some sensors, and sensors will be emitting the data to our database. And we'll build a machine learning model which understands, and it will tell beforehand whenever the fan is going to fail. Let's say it says at 2 days before, it can give you a signal saying that this particular part is going to fail in next 2 days. Then by the so what makes that is that by 2 days you can arrange an engineer to come to that place and he'll fix that part, so that your production won't stop and you'll get more profit. Or else what happens is that the engineer takes another 1 or 2 days to come, and then he comes and he'll fix all these things. It will, let's say you lose a production of 5 days. So that is a very big loss for an bigger company. So they do this predictive analytics. And the second one is churn prediction. Churn in the sense, your telecom, this is mostly used in the telecom domain. So you might be porting from Idea to Geo, or from Airtel to Geo, or just Geo to some other network. Many people might be doing this porting, right? Have you ever seen, before you thought of porting your number, you might have got a call from a customer care saying that we are providing you this offer and that offer and all. So so these things happen. The moment you think about porting, they'll without you telling them, they'll find out whether you're trying to port or not. So that is called as a churn prediction. It says whether you are going to sustain in the company or you are going to leave the company. How they do this is that based on your all logs. Let's say if you are planning to move from that company and you have some balance, what you do is that you try to use all the balance whatever it is there, and then you'll shift to other things, right? So suddenly your pattern has changed than your normal pattern. Then they'll come to know that you are doing something suspicious, and then they try to either provide some offers to make you sustain in the company, or they'll do something. That is a business plan. But with respect to machine learning, you are trying to predict someone whether they are going to be in a company or they are leaving the company. So, and other is in recommendation systems. So I think this everyone might be knowing about this recommendation system. So let's say example, you take a YouTube. If you watch some videos with respect to some YouTube channel, definitely you'll get the recommendations from that YouTube channels, or else you'll also get some recommendation. The people who has seen this also has seen another particular video. And then, do you know this? YouTube's revenue, they get around 60% of their revenue depends on their recommendation system, or else even Netflix. Those companies, their revenue is totally depends on recommendation system. No one will uh, wantedly go on some watch videos, so they'll only post you whatever the trending videos, or else based on your taste they'll try to do some so let's say it's a kind of a common mindset. They'll try to figure out all the people, what the people are doing commonly. Let's say in Andhra Pradesh, let's say some movie promotions has released. I might be a person who is not interested in movies, and I might be looking only into news or some business related things in YouTube. Might be looking into always into movies or something else. Definitely he'll get the recommendation of that particular video which has released, right? So today any audio launch or something, any teaser releases, the person who has interested in movies, who is watching the movies in YouTube, will get that recommendation, but not the person who is doing this what you call business related things in YouTube. So this is how the YouTube gets their 60% of the money they get from this recommendation. And then other thing is a fraud detection. Fraud detection is about you can tell people might be aware of using credit cards or something. So this help to find out whether before bank is approving you any credit card, there is a system which works now, is a machine learning engine, whether it says whether you can pay the bills or not. Based on your earlier transactions or based on your bank statements, it will try to figure out whether you're a person, genuine person who can pay the bills, or you'll skip the bills. So even that we can predict and we can tell. So this is all about what we can do with the numerical data. And then coming to the NLP in the sense text data, which is natural language processing. So normally text, whatever we write, whether it is in English or in whatever the language we know, right? So that's why the name it has come is that natural language processing. These are many things like sentiment analysis. Let's say nowadays this has become popular in US elections or somewhere else. They'll try to figure out the sentiment of the people through Twitter data or a Facebook data. Probably most of the data is on Twitter in USA. So they'll go with the Twitter data. So they'll get the data from the Twitter, and they'll try to figure out whether the person is talking about a positive about, let's say, President Trump, and then another president is there. So it will be able to tell whether it is talking about positive about the Trump or negative about the Trump. But let's say if you have some 1 million tweets coming daily, is it possible for a human to read and to tell it is a positive or negative? No. So that's where the machine learning comes, and it can tell 1 million things in just 1 minute of time, whether it is a positive or negative. It's all about mathematics, what happens behind it, or else a classification of an things, or else another thing I can tell you is that text generation also. So text generation in the sense, let's say nowadays in Gmail you have seen this feature. If you are trying to type something, you'll get the what is the next predicted things, right? Or else even in WhatsApp, if you type some word, it will complete that word, or else it will also suggest you what will be the next word also. Have you ever seen this? So definitely you might have seen this. This happens with the help of this text generation model in a machine learning, or else natural language processing. So, and then social media analytics. So social media analytics has become very popular even in Andhra Pradesh now, because you know the person called Prashant Kishore. Whoever knows the politics, they might be knowing about the Prashant Kishore. He is an consultant for this social media analytics for political parties. So he has campaigned for YS Jagan this time, and you know the how he has got the results after that. So he does this social media analytics, and he'll try to manage, and he'll try to figure out what the people wants, and then he try to figure out what all the people are requiring, and then based on that they'll generate their manifesto or something else. or also they can even try to change the mindset of the people with the help of social media by posting some different posts or videos. So this is all about that social media analytics. So coming to the image data, so this will be very interesting because most of the people might be using this. So probably you might not aware of the machine learning part, means that this numerical data which I have explained so far, but definitely you might be aware of this NLP, where this text generation or social media analytics you might be aware of. Now we'll go to the image data. So image data, the name the people call it as an industry is a computer vision, because the computers are all of images, right? So they'll call it as a computer vision. So this face recognition algorithm, right? So this recognition, in the sense, what it does is that it will try to match your face with your earlier photo. Let's say you have uploaded your photo in Facebook, and then you're watching your video, or else you're uploading after 1 or 2 years, you'll be uploading your photos, right? Then it will try to match your face to that particular image which has in your earlier things, and will try to tell you, let's say if you group of 5 people has taken a selfie and they've uploaded, all the people names comes there to tag it. So that's where this face recognition algorithms helps. Or else there are several other algorithms with respect to face, or else this is much more useful in health domain. Normally people what do is that they'll scan the reports, whatever the MRI scanning you do it. Instead of doctor telling you the patient whether he has a cancer or not, in machine learning or else this computer vision algorithm can tell whether the patient has a cancer or not. That's how you don't even require a doctor for that. So algorithms will tell you that. Or else object detection, to detect whether the object is there or not or something. So this is mostly helpful in this what you call security domain. Whenever any major security checks happen, they have this object detect algorithm. Any suspicious objects it detects, and it will report to the security team. So that's where it is helpful. OCR in the sense it is converting an, let's say if you have something in a PDF or else some image, handwritten things, right? And you want to convert it into text data. So that's where this OCR helps in, where that is an kind of an things which can be done with this computer vision. And then gesture recognition means, let's say with your hand, if you are saying hello or hi or bye something, it should be able to tell the words behind it. Or else there is something now nowadays, if the how this has evolved in the sense, nowadays even poetries are written by some NLP engines. There is something called as an GPT-3 which has just launched in this June 2020, where it can write in poetry. So if you just ask a question, I want to write a poetry on rose, it will give you some poetry. So that's how it has evolved. And then coming to audio data, so there are some interesting use cases here, which is an speech recognition. So normally what happens is that, let's say if you call to any customer care center, what happens is that they'll ask your date of birth or else your register mobile number, all nonsense things they'll ask you, where people get frustrated to answer all those questions. Now we can come up with a solution with this speech recognition, saying that, let's say if you are the person who has registered with that particular company, if you call for the second time, it will match your current voice to the earlier voice it has, and it will tell you whether you are the authenticated person or not. So that is how the speech recognition will be helpful. Or else call routing. So based on your nowadays people will ask to press one or press two something, right? Instead of asking to press one or press two, they can directly tell their what the problem is, and then it will directly route to that particular issue. No need to press one or two in your keypads. And then speech to text processing, whenever you talk something, that will be converted into text. You can see this in where any YouTube or any channels where you get subtitles, right? Do you think someone will sit and write the subtitles? No one will does that. So there are algorithms, whenever you give a voice data, it will directly convert into text, and then it will start printing it. So these are the major applications which we have in this. So so this is a major thing what I thought to explain to you guys. And then other thing is that there are some use cases where you combine two or three different things and you can tell you can implement something. So those things are this. Let's say self-driving cars. So far it hasn't been in India, but people in US uses these self-driving cars. How does that work isn't it has this both machine learning is this sensor data as well as this image data. Image in the sense they have a video, or video in the sense it's an continuous images. So they use this both algorithms from machine learning and then from image data, and then they'll try to build a self-driving car, and then they'll try to adjust your speed, velocity, or else your steering angle, or it will see how whether the road is curving or in whether it is a straight line, whether some vehicles are coming sideways. It will check all the multiple parameters with the sensors. If you see every car has a blue circle around that, in the sense that is emitting some signals. Whenever it responses based on that, it will try to adjust your angles and speed or everything. So this is where the self-driving cars are useful. And then you might not be aware of these things because it hasn't been in India so far. But chatbot. So this is everyone knows about the chatbot because nowadays every application has a chatbot. Wherever you ask something, that will give you an answer. But do you remember there are some chatbots which has a fixed set of questions and it will give a fixed answers. So you might feel discomfort with that. So whereas in with the help of an advanced machine learning techniques, you can build a chatbot saying that whether the other side of the person definitely he'll not be able to know whether he is chatting with a bot or with a human. That's how the advancement has happened so far. And then this virtual assistants. Virtual assistants in the sense you might be aware of this Amazon Echo or else Google Home. These are the devices now has become popular in e-commerce websites. So these are the things where you talk something, it will try to analyze it, it will search for that in Google, and then it will, let's say if you ask to play some song, so it will play. Or else if you ask to switch on your light in a home, then it will do it. Or else you can ask to control your refrigerator temperature, whatever the commands you give, it will take the natural voice commands into things, and then it will try to work it. And also it also try to remind you, like you tell to your virtual assistant saying that today I have 2 p.m. some interview, so please remind me. Then it will store you, and then it 5 minutes before that it will tell you, hey, you have an interview schedule now, so please be ready for that. So it will give some suggestions like that. So this is how this virtual assistant works. And then healthcare diagnostics. As I told, nowadays all the reports or everything has become directly without having a doctor or views. Directly reports are given to the patients with the output saying that what the problem is about and how much is a percentage of the problem, and then what it might leads to. Everything is already done by the machines itself. You just need to have a doctor advice after that, but machine itself says each and everything. And you know that nowadays in US, as the people has more of this COVID-19 cases has happening, there are hundreds of ventilators, and then people are not able to go and change that tuning. They need to change some settings in the ventilator based on that each and every person respiratory whatever things happening. Now as it is becoming very difficult for go and do manually, they have made this machine learning algorithm which sees the pattern of the humans, and it will try to adjust. If something going beyond some particular limit, then it will directly goes message to the doctor saying that this particular bed number, this particular patient is going to be critical in next some 10 or 15 minutes. Then doctor will go there and he'll only look into the critical cases, so that all the manual efforts which were done by either doctors or the nurses has been reduced with the help of machine learning. So almost 40 minutes has been done, I guess. So I'm done with my thing. So this is all about what the machine learning or else things what you can do with this, so that if you start learning it, your definitely your career will be in bright future. So please do this, or else I'll be helpful for you to, if you need any further information on this. Uh, if you have any questions, please ask so that I'll answer your questions, even on these slides which I have shared, or any particular doubts you have with respect to machine learning or deep learning.
Okay, thank you. You have given wonderful information. Dear participants, if you have any queries, please share in the chat box. Okay, no one having doors. Okay, dear participants, thank you for your participating and spending the most valuable time. Thank you, Anna. You are giving a wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Now, Venkateshwarala. Okay.
So, is it no one has questions, or what's the problem? So, if you ask questions itself, you'll come to know